In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Please welcome.
Welcome to the gayest podcast ever.
Hello and welcome to the gayest podcast ever. I'm Josh and I'm here with
Eric.
Jay.
Hello, boys. How are we doing today?
Well, first podcast of 2021. Yay.
Right? We made it. We made it through 2020. But and today's a very special day. It's producer Chad's birthday.
That's pretty bad.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to the man who tries to keep us on task.
Also, David's 3-year birthday. David, my Jeep. I got him 3 years ago today.
Oh my gosh. Well, if we're talking about important people, it's also Dolly Parton's 75th birthday.
I know, a year ago we were in West Palm Beach having brunch for producer Chad's birthday, not knowing, again, what was coming.
That picture, those shrimp and grits popped on my phone today in my memory. So I'm like, I would murder someone to go back. Eating those right now.
Yeah,
so good.
We just killed those mimosas and food, and what a good time. But yeah, so it's also the last full day of the Trump presidency.
Hallelujah.
4 years later, we survived. And
time to heal, girl.
Yeah.
Buckle up. Tomorrow's going to be negative 45.
Yes.
Oh,
I like that one.
It's the only time I'm excited about colder weather.
Hey.
It's going to be a high of 46.
Biden just keeps saying we got to turn down the temperature.
I thought Delaware would be big old bad New York.
Love it. Before we jump into our topics, I just want to do a quick little hot topic with you boys to get your temperature on something that's going on. Are you guys aware of what is happening with Armie Hammer?
I've heard brief things and read an article. Like, did he talk about wanting to eat a woman?
High level, yes. So for
I know it sounds strange, but that's like the article I saw.
Yes.
Yeah, fill us in a little bit.
High level, yes. So I went down the rabbit hole over the weekend because I was like, what is going on? And I've always carried a little torch for Armie because I just think he's super good looking and he's tall and, you know, a big smile. And I'm like, yes, okay. Well, no, scary motherfucker. Okay. So I'm going to be real quick about this just because I don't want to go too deep into it. But for those of you listening, so he was sending instant messages on Instagram to these different people that he slept with. And apparently he's a big man whore. And it comes down to that he's really into BDSM, which is totally fine if you do it in a safe, respectful way. But he is apparently not doing it in a safe, respectful way. And that's where shit is going sideways now. Some of his messages look insane. Like, this is some of them. And it's all just him right in a row. Okay. You just live to obey and be my slave. I will own you. That's my soul, my brain, my spirit, my body. Would you come and be my property till you die? If I wanted to cut off one of your toes and keep it with me in my pocket so I always had a piece of you in my possession.
No. Okay.
No, man.
I'm going to stop you right there, Hannibal Lecter. Like, no, I am not coming to your house.
Yeah.
And this straight up reminds me of, remember, like, the gays here in Detroit, like the one that like murdered the guy because
no, not Detroit. No, that was like up north in those parts. No, not Detroit.
I did forget about that.
The guy was like a former Mr. Detroit Leather.
It was like on Christmas Eve. It happened like last year. Yeah.
So this is another one. So hard, thinking of holding your heart in my hand and controlling when it beats. I am 100% a cannibal. I want to eat you. Fuck, that's kind of scary to admit. I've never admitted that before.
Ew,
this is the guy from the gay movie, like Call Me By Your Name or whatever.
Yes,
like, what?
Yes. Yeah.
And then whatever his name.
I hope he enjoyed his career while it lasted.
So, and then now the other thing, the Daily Mail, and if you're not following the Daily Mail, the UK, man, they just fucking get the shit fast. They found his. So this is another thing. A lot of celebrities and famous people have not fake Instagram, have private Instagram accounts where they can actually like engage with their real family and friends. So not like a professional one that we all see and follow with 38 million followers. It's one where they just have like 72 followers and it's just their close personal friends. Daily Mail found his private Instagram and it's creepy as fuck. And it's got like women in lace on the bed. He literally has his, he's like on the toilet. You can see his underwear down, like, and you don't see anything like inappropriate, but he's like taking a drug test, talking about how he can fake a drug test so he can see his kids. It's fucked up. Like he really like
he just get divorced.
Yeah, and he can't even see the kid.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
I'm just like, his wife has to have some sort of statement released about our ex-wife.
Oh,
Like-
no, she's just letting it all go through like through my attorney. Like the kids are my number one
Because, I
priority.
mean, like, yeah, you are giving me every reason in the world not to let my kids around you. Like,
Absolutely. It's freaky. It's weird. And like, so now he's been dropped from the new J-Lo movie. And they're talking about bringing in Josh Jamel now, I heard. But yeah, he's
not him around Max and Emmy? Hell no.
yeah, exactly. He might eat them. Literally. He's like, oh my God, you're so cute. Your kids are so cute.
gonna
Just
die.
gobble them
I was
up. And
gonna-
then you're like,
Die if you said he just got dropped from the new Jodie Foster movie. And I was like, well, that'd be perfect.
Weren't they doing another Call Me By Your Name, like a sequel or prequel to this?
Nobody's calling Army anymore.
there was talk, but if you have a chance, it's definitely triggering. So definitely if you have had, something crazy, and he's also like really into like the rape scenario where he'll like want you to play like he's raping you and he gets off on it, which I'm sorry is like a gateway drug to actually raping. Right. I mean,
See, this is why I do not like we were just watching shows yesterday and that Netflix show came up about the Hollywood, the serial killer in Hollywood. It's like Night Stalker or something.
The Night Stalker, I started it.
And like me and Dan were both sitting there and I was like, ooh, I think I might want to watch this. And then I started watching the preview by myself and I was like, ooh, you know what? This just isn't for me. I'm home by myself way too much to be watching this by myself.
Yeah. And the other thing that's really creepy that actually might even get him in some trouble is some of the messages we're talking about. He says like, oh, well, like for not being ready, you took it like a champ, because he's really into anal. And she goes, no, I didn't. I tried to crawl away and was crying hysterically and you ignored me. And like, literally, like you didn't listen to the safe word. Like it gets kind of like, okay, now this is like verging on, and he literally says in his response, he's like, I'm not going to lie. You crying and crawling away was like the highlight of it. Like, that's when I like orgasmed. And it's like, oh, this is weird. I felt creepy.
Yeah, this is weird.
I'm now. No.
Yeah.
So sexy. And I for real thought he was really a twin in The Social Network. Like that was really the first we had like seen him.
Yeah, that was like his big one, and I just watched him in the RBG movie. He plays Ruth Bader Ginsburg's husband in that, and yeah, just really, really unfortunate. But
I mean, on other hot topic news, are they doing my Golden Globes this year? Do you know?
So I am not even sure what they're doing with any awards.
I mean, it's like my favorite award show.
I know. Usually it's right in now. The Grammys were pushed back until March. So award season is really, really weird. I'm not
January of 2020, like kicked January 2021's ass. January of 2020 ruled.
We're getting back there. Tomorrow's a new day. Tomorrow's going to start us off right.
Okay, Promise of a New Day by Paula Abdul.
A New Day has come by Celine Dion. We're gonna need a little soundtrack for tomorrow.
She's here, guys.
All right, but yeah, I just wanted to touch base on that. So weird, so creepy. But let's go ahead and let's make a new drink. And when we come back, we're gonna jump into our first topic, which is a little sexy, but in a much more fun, playful, awesome way. So we'll be right back.
I love the way that you talk.
And we're back. And for my topic this week, I thought I would talk about, what all the buzz is at the ton. That is the latest Netflix show, Bridgerton, which was released on Christmas Day. There's 8 episodes. For those who haven't watched it yet, high level. It's about a show. It's a show about a family set in like 1816, like the early 1800s.
Yeah, like 1813, I think, something like that.
Yeah, something right around there in the early 1800s, set in like the country villages of London. And this family, the Bridgertons, has like 7 kids,
8.
and essentially 8, and they essentially have their romantic endeavors, and then all of the other people. But I loved it. I finished it in 2 days. CJ, you guys did it in...
I think we did 3. We did like most of the season on day 1, and then those last couple we had to break up between 2 days. But yeah, it was surprisingly a great watch. I didn't put a lot of stock into it because I didn't know a lot about it. I knew that Shonda was, attached to it in a certain way, so that made me excited. But as far as like, I had no idea what to expect, and I surprisingly loved it.
Yeah, and Eric, you did it in 1 day.
Yeah, I did it all day yesterday. I did not do my
hardcore into that.
I did like the first 6 episodes because, my internal alarm, I was up at 9 a.m. even though I had the day off. And then I was just like, well, I have nothing to watch. So I watched like my series finale of the other show I was watching. And then I did the first 6 episodes, did some stuff around the house, went to my parents. And then I finished the last 2 episodes last night. But loved it. And gotta say, even the straight sex, I was like, wow, this is pretty intense.
Yeah, so full disclaimer for everyone, not the show you watch with the kids in the room, not the show you watch with your mom.
Well, like the first 3 episodes, you're like, oh, okay, like it's kind of charming and like has a little Gossip Girl, like Gilmore Girl feel to it, and then episode 5 and 6 is just nothing but straight up Skinamax.
Yeah. So Netflix officially said that some 63 million households watched the show so far, or within its first week or so, which puts it in the top 4 premieres of original shows on Netflix. So it's up there with the Stranger Things, the Orange is the New Black, the Ozarks, the critically acclaimed, the stuff that they love.
But it's based on 8 books, right? It's all about the Bridgerton's kids. Love life.
And okay. I've read 6 of the books. So I read this years ago. And so when I found out that it was being developed for Netflix, I was like, awesome. And then I found out Shonda was attached. Shonda Rhimes of My Scandal, My Grays, My How to Get Away with Murder. Sign me up.
Yeah. Are they cheesy, romantic, romance novels?
Absolutely. Yes. They are
very Daniel Steele.
They are those dime store novels that your mama, snuck around. Yes, absolutely. I went through a phase where I just needed some light shit to read, and that I fell down the rabbit hole.
I really enjoyed it. It blew my mind how much I really started to like it and was rooting for the storyline. And then I found out that Anthony was gay in real life, and I was like, wow.
Yes!
Okay.
Yeah, I love that for him. And then the creator of the show, or the showrunner, oh my God, I'm totally drawing a blank on his name. He's gay in real life. Well, he's gay. He's not on the show, but he's gay. So it's just very, very interesting. And it doesn't shock me that Shonda Rhimes has this giant Netflix deal where she's given money and control over different shows. And so one of the first things, this is her first show completely developed for Netflix, and she gave the reins to a gay man. And I just think that's super awesome that she's all about inclusivity. And the other thing that is so different about the show, and this is something I want to talk to you guys about, is so the thing that they do in the show is they I don't want to say pretend, but they ignore any racial background of any of the characters. So right. For instance, the Queen she's
Queen's
black.
Hair is everything in the show. I love the Queen's hair so much.
Oh, that one wig with the white thread, loved it.
Yeah, the costumes and the wigs. So out of this world. And then the Duke is also black. And then, there's there's Asian, there's Hispanic. The girl that kind of finds herself in a situation where she's unwed and pregnant, she's Black. And so it's just really like, what are your thoughts? And I know we all loved Hollywood, which also kind of did the same thing, the Ryan Murphy show on Netflix, where they kind of erased the borders of racial lines. And did it affect the way you watched it? Did it affect the way you perceived it?
I like it more.
I think it's great. But what I loved about it the most is like they even took it a step further and they just cast whoever they thought was best suited. They didn't go out and be like, okay, this family's white, so everyone in this family has to be white. And then so everyone in this family has to be Black. Like some of the kids, like there's an Asian kid and a Black kid for a white mom. Like they just completely ignored race altogether. And I loved it because they truly went for the best actor or actress for the part.
I agree. It made me love it more. I loved everything about it. I caught myself like smiling. I loved the music in it, how it was modern day music. Like Dan watching the one time we see like, is that Justin Bieber? And I was like,
yes. That was another thing that I wanted to talk about is the music. And that was one of my favorite things is like, they're entering the ball and all of a sudden you're like, is that Thank You Next by Ariana Grande set to strings in the 1800s?
And you're like dun, 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 who doesn't want to go to a ball now? I want to go to a ball so bad.
I mean, yeah.
When is it? What were they calling it? Like your not coronation, but like when you go out,
coming out.
You're coming out. Like my coming out needed to be like
for my 40th birthday. I've decided I'm walking around in clothes like the Duke was wearing, and you guys are gonna call me your Grace all weekend during the ball.
There's the line.
I mean, if you want to have a coming out ball, I'm there for it.
Yeah, but no, and then the Duke. Can we talk about those boxing scenes? Because I was getting verklempt.
Well, and they kind of made it even like sexier with the fact that like when they fought each other, there wasn't like a lot of blood and bruising.
Yeah, I don't want that.
They literally, that was one of the things that I was like, okay, they're square on just hitting each other in the face and nothing is happening. But then he would fight with her brother and like he'd have like a bloody eye. And then he's sitting there dabbing it for like 2 hours when she comes home.
And I think another thing that is just so amazing is the chemistry between Daphne and the Duke. Like the way and someone in one of the Heart Them. In one of the interviews they were talking and they asked like, is anything, and he was like, he said that they had to take waltzing classes and dancing classes. And he goes, you get real close real fast when you're doing stuff like that. And I was like, oh my God, the way that the camera just like would hang on them and you feel the energy between them was like, is there something going on here?
Yeah, but they said like season 2 now because of everything. It got pushed. It was supposed to start in July. Yeah. And it's got pushed to March, and it so probably won't be out till like November, like 2022 or something.
Yeah.
Daphne even gave an interview and said that she just doesn't even understand how it's going to be filmed because it's such a small set and the costumes and everyone's waltzing and dancing all the time. And I just, it was really good. I hope not.
You can definitely tell it was filmed pre-COVID because there was just so many people and it was just beautiful. And I almost hope that they wait till maybe everyone has the vaccine and that way they can do it properly. Because I think that was something that was like when the one scene when they did the ball outside and they're all dancing and the fireworks. I was like, I don't want to lose that because I think it's so beautiful and so important to the story.
So, and I really liked how they had like the whole Gossip Girl aspect of like secret writing about the town, and I don't want to give any
very Gossip Girl. So what point did you start to have ideas on who it was? Did you guess who it was before the reveal? I had a good idea. I thought by maybe halfway through, I thought who it was.
I thought it was in that particular family. I thought it was going to be in that family. I did not know who.
So in the books, they reveal who Lady Whistledown, and for those of you listening, you haven't watched it. So the other kind of running narrative throughout the TV show is that there is this Lady Whistledown's newspaper that comes out every day that kind of tells the gossip that's going on. And it's narrated by Julie Andrews, which is amazing.
I agree.
It's so perfect. And at the very end, you find out who Lady Whistledown is. But in the books, you don't find out till book number 4. And so I knew it only because I've read the books. But if you were to read the first 3 books, you would not know who Lady Whistledown was even then. And my other favorite thing about the books, if you're interested in reading those, they're quick reads, they're easy. They're also very smutty. So each book is told from Daphne's the first book, and so that was their love story. The second book's all about Antony and his love story. The third book's all about Benedict and his love story. The fourth one's about Colin. And so
really break it down.
Colin, I really hope that Colin's ends up the way that I wanted it to.
Yeah, and so the other really cool thing about the books is, so like by the time like you get to like the fourth book with Colin, it's been like 5 years since the first book, so they've like aged. And then you also get like they're like having a family dinner at the Bridgerton estate, and Daphne is there with the Duke, and they have their babies, and Antony's there with his wife, who I'm not going to say who Antony ends up with. Colin's there with his, and it's just really good because, like, you know, my least favorite thing about a book is like at the very end you have to say goodbye to those characters and like it's done. But with the Bridgerton novels, it kind of it's like, oh, so you kind of know where they end up, what's happening in their lives. So that's kind of nice. But
we have to talk about, because I know we're running out of time, the fact that there was such a strong like gay vibe around some of the characters, and it didn't play out. And a lot of people were actually upset by the fact, because the trailer had very specific scenes that made you think, oh, there's going to be like a main gay story, and there wasn't.
I thought Eloise and Penelope, I thought that was a gay story from the very first second I watched it. Like, I was like, oh, that's going to be a story. And it was not. I love their friendship. And Eloise became one of my favorite characters on the show.
Eloise and she's not that. Like, in the books, I did not. And in the show, I was like, oh, my God, I love you. She's like the woke character. She's the one that's like, why should I have to marry? Why can't I just go get educated?
And I love watching all the different sibling, relationships. Because, I grew up with a lot of siblings. And I appreciate the whole dynamic of, oh, you have this relationship with that one and this with that one.
Yeah. I'll definitely be curious to see, because also like in the books, it's all white people. So it's not like it was there. And then also there's no gay storyline whatsoever. So the whole time I'm like, are they going to make one of the siblings gay? Like, how are they going to do this?
Same. And like I said, see the trailer, like the fact that they put that in the trailer was a little deceptive, especially knowing that Shonda has such a gay like following, and the creator,
the showrunner's gay,
right?
So
I did appreciate the speech about the one gay storyline though, when he was like explaining it to him, and I was like, God, could you even imagine? Because me and Dan were watching that part together, and I was like, that must have just been insanity, like all those years ago.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what they do with season 2. So if you are looking for a nice, easy escape with all the dreariness of winter and everything that's going on in the world, Bridgerton, highly recommend. It's an easy binge. It's fun. It's lighthearted, beautiful costumes, beautiful scenery.
And 8 episodes is not enough. I mean, I do like how they resolve stuff quickly, but not enough.
It really is shot beautifully, and the music itself, like,
I might get that soundtrack. Like, that might be my new bathtub, like, time music.
I was texting Josh, and I was like, please don't tell me, don't share any of the music, because I like the little surprise of, wait, this sounds familiar. What is this? That was so fun.
I have it downloaded. It's good.
They were doing the Bad Boy song, and I was like, yeah.
Yeah. So highly recommend Bridgerton on Netflix. And so I think we raise our little glasses to the ton, as they say. And we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to dive into another TV show, but a little more set in the future.
There's nothing else to do. Else to do.
I know. When we were talking about topics, we all had TV, and it was like, well, what else have we done?
Yeah.
So, all right, we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
You talk.
And we're back. Our glasses are full, and we're gonna turn it over to our resident comic book boy, fanboy,
Marvel.
Only fanboy.
Wants to sleep with a superhero boy.
Watch with OnlyFans. I'm not there yet. Still don't have a job, but I'm not there yet. Anyways, on
for you.
on Friday, Disney Plus finally released our first little bit of Marvel since we've had since Endgame, which was over a year ago. Can't believe that.
Real quick, I just want to interrupt you. The only part of Marvel that I ever paid attention to was when Chris Evans showed his penis, so people would go out and vote. So we have seen Marvel before that.
Well,
Is it CJ, is that canon?
yeah, that's America's dick. It's America's dick, and we're here for it. Salute that dick. So WandaVision came out on Disney Plus on Friday with 2 episodes. And thank God it was 2 episodes, because I feel like it was a very smart for Marvel and Disney to do. Because WandaVision is weird as hell. And I love it. I'm here for it. So if you don't know anything about WandaVision, it stars Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda Maximoff. And I've got his name, Paul Bettany, as the Vision, which were both characters in MCU. They both, I think, originated in Age of Ultron, which was an Avengers movie. I know, Eric, this is going to be like completely foreign.
Yeah, I completely back that up. Go ahead.
It's like when we start saying superheroes, it's like when Eric goes names housewives. It's like the same level.
So we're
very well-rounded here.
The official start of Marvel's Phase 4 of the MCU, which starts off with their television shows that they've all coming on Disney Plus, and then it's going to launch into some other movies. This is an interesting take because it kind of plays on those old sitcoms, Dick Van Dyke shows, I Dream of Jeannie, Bewitched.
What'd you call me?
What'd you call me? So it's so super weird because those first 2 episodes are straight up 50s sitcoms. And I loved it because I caught all the little Easter eggs. No, Josh, you didn't really like it, did you?
I did not like it. I was very confused. And I also should disclaimer, I've seen Bewitched, I've seen I Dream of Jeannie, and I like those types of shows, but like I've never watched an episode of like Dick Van Dyke or the Mary Tyler Moore Show or anything like that.
Yeah, you like those kind of shows because that's all we had on TV when we were little kids. Now there's cable and Netflix where they're allowed to cost and
and I totally respect that and I think, I trust the Marvel process that I'm sure they have a goal. Like it felt like the first one was set in the 50s, the second one was set in the 60s. I think next week's episode is going to be in the 70s, the following in the 80s and the 90s, and we're slowly going to get to today.
Right. It was done for a very specific reason, which we don't really know yet, but you can tell that it's done in a reason. It's the actors themselves dove deep into this sitcom situation. Like they went hardcore and they played just like it would be in a 50s sitcom. They even did like some of the old gags, like on Bewitched, where they would freeze frame, change the sets, bring the character back, and then put them back in there. It was all set in front of a live studio
audience.
Which blew my mind for a Marvel movie.
Eric, you would love this. So the one neighbor is the funny, the bad moms.
Oh yeah, I watched it. So I watched the trailer, and honestly, that's probably going to be the only thing that I have ever watched with this show. It's just not for me. But I did notice that she was in it. And I was like,
Catherine Hahn.
And then I was like, no.
I loved her in Bad Moms. She's so funny, and she really does bring some of those comedic timings that she's with. But I'm telling you, her character is not what we think it's going to be. Like, I don't want to do any spoilers, but I think she's going to kind of be the big bad of the series. But I think she was perfect. She plays that great, nosy neighbor. Her name is Agnes in the show, and she just comes over all the time. And what are you doing? What's this and what's this?
She was my favorite part of the 2 episodes. I will say that. But I also love her.
There's only 2 episodes?
They only released 2 so far. The one thing I don't like, though, they're so short. Like the first episode, if you take out the credits, 24 minutes. That was it.
See, now this is what's wrong with the world also. Now it's like we have to wait more than like 5 days for an episode and we're mad about it.
I don't know who, like, Netflix doesn't do this. And I don't know why, like, HBO Max and Disney Plus think that they can, prolong trying to keep subscribers by doing this one episode a week time. But I'm over it. Like, if I want that shit, I'll go to NBC, I'll go to CBS. No, I want to binge it when I want to binge it, bitches. It
was very smart for Disney Plus to do the 2 episodes. One, because that first episode alone was so hardcore sitcom and you got very little story until the very end when you started realizing, okay, something's not right here. And then season 2 kind of progressed it a little more and you're like, okay, something really isn't right here. There's a reason why they're doing this sitcom situation and we're seeing them progress into a more modern period.
I'm anti-Maxine. I'm reclaiming my time. I'm reclaiming my TV shows. I want it back.
I cannot wait until Friday when the 3rd episode comes out. It's the first 2 episodes were in black and white.
You're gonna wait all week long for 23 minutes,
right?
It's stupid. I hate it.
The first, I hate the wait. I would have binged it all in one night if I could, especially in 23 minutes.
Oh my God, can you imagine if they released Schitt's Creek like one episode at a time? Like they're like 22 minutes long. Like what? Like,
they did do that.
No time for this.
You binged
actually. I didn't. I was say I only did it in binge format. I think I did. I waited, and there was another show I discovered certain shows I could only do in binge format. How to Get Away with Murder, because I was too confusing from week to week with the time jumps. It was better just watching it all at once, so you could be like, "Oh yes, oh yes." Like,
so is there also a love story in this show that you watch?
There is a love story.
I noticed that she's holding hands with the robot.
So Vision, and that's the mystery of the whole season. So last we saw Vision, he died. He was dead at the end of Endgame.
Well, couldn't she just charge him? Did she just forget to lose her charger?
So that's the whole mystery. Like, okay, is he alive? How's he back? How did he get back? What's going on? Like,
Eric's going to buy her a new vibrator and plug it in and charge it up.
It's not like a Dyson. You can't just order a new one.
You guys, this is why I can't watch shows with Dan. Like, we were watching Bridgerton, and he's like, oh, yeah, it must be really easy to have a fountain in 1813 without any electricity. And I'm like... Must we? You
know what? And I don't want to go too far off topic, but I think this is a really good thing to mention. Raise your hand if you've been victimized by your partner's TV watching habits.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Nobody asked you. Asked you to watch it with me.
I literally started pausing it now, and I pause it and I look at Spencer and I go, ask all the questions you want. I'm not continuing until you're done, because he just wants to talk. And we literally the other day, he couldn't stop laughing. He said, I go, ask all the questions now. And so he goes, I'm not going to ask any questions. So we start it. He literally made it maybe 20, 30 seconds. And he asked the question. He's like, shit. And then he was like, I'm going to be good. And then he asked another one. And we weren't even through the first 5 minutes of the episode. I'm like, I can't with you.
So I knew Steve would ask a lot of questions so I tried to, before we even started, I said, okay, here's the deal. This is what's happening. This is what I think's happening. It's going to be weird based on the reviews I've read. So do you have any questions now? He was like, no.
How does that work? Because with mine, we started watching episode 1 and he was here, and then he was doing stuff for work. And then he came home and it was the finale, and he starts being all loud, pulling stuff out. So I paused and I'm like, you're using every loud thing in the house. So then he sits down and he's like, and who's this lady? And who's this guy? And why do we care about him? And I'm like...
Well, that was something else. So at one point, Steve picked up his phone and I immediately paused. I said, no, because if you look away for 2 minutes, I swear you're going to look up and be like, wait, what's going on here? I'm like, just put your phone down. It's 24 minutes.
Right. Back to the RoboCop love story. We're going off topic.
RoboCop love story. So anyways, WandaVision really does dive into this great sitcom, early sitcom things. The actors themselves even watched all these classic sitcoms before they started recording. We're running out of time because we've been talking about our spouse's TV habits. But I don't want to give any spoilers because I know Disney just released these and there's still a lot of questions. So I want people to be able to watch it and have their own feelings in it. But I just want to talk about what are some of our favorite like sitcoms that we watched? Like, what were some of your all's favorites?
Like, are we talking about like as kids or like
any sitcom whatsoever?
Oh, I mean, I always loved Friends. It was always one of my favorite. Friends, Will and Grace. As a kid, I always watched TGIF. That was our big thing as kids on Friends. We watched Step by Step and Family Matters and Full House and Perfect Strangers.
Well, on the list that I pulled up, Friends was rated #1 top sitcom of all time. Will and Grace was at number 20, and I'm like, I disagree with that. Roseanne was about in the middle. I love Roseanne.
Love Roseanne. I still watch The Conners. I am a diehard fan. Still think it's funny.
I didn't watch any of the reboots. But other I loved Bewitched and I Dream of Jeannie. Like those as a kid, those are the shows that I watched all the time. I was so fascinated with Samantha. I wanted to be Samantha.
Do you guys remember in the 90s, like Nickelodeon started the whole Nick at Night thing? And during the summer.
Oh, Nick at Night. Yeah, that was more like my time.
Well, and then like during the summer, like at night. Oh, yeah.
I love Lucy.
Producer Chad loves I Love Lucy. It's his birthday, so we're going to let him chime in. Which, sidebar, Nicole Kidman was just cast as Lucille Ball, and everyone's coming for her. But
because of Bewitched? Because it was one of the worst movies ever made that she was in?
Oh, it's cute. I love
it. I loved it.
Of course you did. Of course you did.
But Lucille Ball's daughter has said, until you see Nicole Kidman with the wig and the makeup and the voice, she's like, you're gonna love it. So sidebar. But the Nick at Night used to do like Monday night was The Munsters, Tuesday night was Bewitched, Wednesday night was The Addams Family, and every night of the week. And so that's how I found all of those shows that I would watch that my parents watched. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed a little throwback.
Like Mary Tyler Moore, I would watch it. I don't know anything about Mary and her whole story. I know like she worked in an office and she threw her hat up in the street. Yeah, but that's about all I know.
Well, and some of my favorite sitcoms and this probably explains why I'm gay and my mom let me watch them, but I love The Golden Girls. I love Designing Women, and I love The Nanny. Those were three of my favorite sitcoms, and I just remember watching. I still watch The Golden Girls. I still watch Designing Women, and I love them. And I was like, oh man, this definitely made me gay.
Some of those great sitcoms, that's kind of why I was happy to see the WandaVision was going in that direction, because they were really like paying tribute to some of these great sitcoms. I mean, they stand up against the test of time. Like I could watch Bewitched today. I wouldn't even know what episode I'm starting on. I know Samantha's going to twinkle that nose and something's going to fly across the room. And
I watched
the mom's going to pop out.
Boy Meets World a lot. And I named Winnie, my dog is actually named after Winnie Cooper from the Wonder Years.
Wonder Years.
I loved the Wonder Years.
I think that was like our first big
that was what we watched on Sunday night at like 8 o'clock on ABC when you had to be home and the streetlights came on. You know, when life was like way normal.
Yeah, like Full House, Step by Step.
Yeah.
Full House or Family Matters. Like those like Perfect Strangers. Did you guys watch
Urkel was a huge part of like your 90s growing up.
Yeah.
My Two Dads. You remember My Two Dads?
I wish they would do a reboot of My Two Dads. But like make it a gay thing, not like a straight couple. Make it gay.
Make it gay.
Oh, and another one I really did love was Mad About You. Oh, and Frasier.
I hated Seinfeld in there. These are terrible.
Oh, no, I hated Seinfeld.
I hated Seinfeld, too. And matter of fact, it was ranked number 2 of all-time sitcoms.
Stupid. Hated it.
Steve keeps telling me, if you watch it now, you'll love it. I'm like, I don't know.
Do you guys remember Dharma and Greg? I like Dharma and Greg. Jenna Elfman, but she's a Scientologist. And
I choose not to remember it. It's like how I feel about Kirstie Alley on Cheers.
Oh, yeah. Shelley Long and Ted Danson.
But in closing, if you're like a big Marvel fan and you also love sitcoms, give WandaVision a try. Now, go in it with an open mind. It is weird. And I didn't go into it with any expectations, and I think that really helped. I just kind of took it for what it was. It's funny. Like some of those old sitcom gags are just funny, and they really played those up really well. Paul Bettany, especially, like he definitely needs his own sitcom outside of this, where he can just really play up the gag in front of a live studio audit because he's fantastic in it.
Yeah. Well, and what we'll do is we'll come back in a year after they release 20 minutes every week for the next, 10 weeks or whatever. And we'll report back and we'll let you know if it's worth watching if you haven't watched it. But otherwise, that was a good little, I love talking about, anytime we can hate on our significant others. Cheers to that. No.
Well, not cheers to that. I make him listen or just download it sometimes. So.
Spencer doesn't listen to it, so I don't have to worry.
They know we love them.
Right, so. I do. All right. Well, we're going to refill our glasses, and we come back. We're going to talk about another, I guess it's a 30-minute TV show, but it's not a sitcom. But
it's so much more.
It's actually kind of a blending of my sexy TV show that I talked about and the 30-minute show. And if you put them together, what do you get?
And just like that.
And just like that. Refill your glass, come back, and we'll tell you all about it.
I love the way that you talk.
And we're back. And, I lit a cigarette, I smoked it. No, no, I don't smoke. But yeah, so I thought we would turn it over to Mr. Eric, and why don't you catch us up on the latest?
So I don't know if you've been living under a box or have not heard, but little Miss Sarah Jessica Parker just sent out 4 little words with a ... on a keyboard on Instagram, and it was released that Sex and the City is coming back for 10-episode limited series on HBO Max.
How iconic was that? Like,
it was me. I was like, girl, you go.
Like, she didn't even hardly say anything, and you knew just by her typing.
Like, typing on a laptop, you're like, what's happening?
Well, and CJ, every time I see those memes, I think of you. And I couldn't help but wonder, was I chasing COVID or was COVID chasing me? Like, I just like all of those things, I think of CJ.
I ran to the corner and got a newspaper. No, just kidding. Got a newspaper dress. Just kidding. But they are, and Kim Cattrall is not going to be a part of it. But yeah, Sex and the City started back in 1998. The first episode was June 6th, and it ended February 22nd, 2004. It starred Sarah Jessica Parker, Kristen Davis, Kim Cattrall, and Cynthia Nixon, as they try to navigate through their 30s and find love in New York. And I love the series. The movies came out in 2008 and 2010. They all ended up finding love with, Chris Noth was Mr. Big, Jason Lewison, who played Smith, him and, what's her Samantha had some problems. It did not work out. Charlotte got played by Kristen Davis, got her happy ending with Harry, and we saw Miranda, who's played by Cynthia Nixon, struggle with Steve. But yeah, they're releasing this new 10-episode feeling about it. They're changing the name to And Just Like That. But I want to hear thoughts. What do you guys think?
Well, first of all, Kim Cattrall has been very vocal for years. Not interested. She's very open and honest about the drama between her and SJP. Like, she just wasn't coming back. So we knew this was going to happen. And
there was a third movie in play in 2016, and it was canceled because of Kim Cattrall.
Yeah, and I think I'm fine with it, and maybe that's why they're changing the name, because it kind of is a different feel. Because you can't have Sex and the City without Samantha. I mean, that was just a part of it. They represented so many different types of women in the show, and Samantha was one of them. She was a very successful, very sexual forward, not apologetic woman, and I think that they were all strong women, but I think for her age, she was very open. I'm 50. I'm this. It won't be the same, but then again, I'm fine with her not being there as well.
See, I'm just curious because they're going to move it up to their 50s. So, I wonder if they're just going to kill her off or, make her in LA or make her be somewhere else. Because that was one of the rumored talks of Sex and the City 3 was that they were going to kill Big off. And it was going to be Carrie alone again. And then that's how they were going to bring Aiden back into it. No offense. I'm just like carrying Aiden. It's not a fit. It's not a fit.
It didn't work out. It didn't work out.
Please, let's move on to somebody else.
Is Aiden sexy as hell? Yes.
Yes. But like he's got
not
Homer, Tate, and Wyatt, and his 3 little boys, and his country band. Like, no.
Yeah, no, I think if they're smart, you don't kill Samantha off. You Christina Yanger. You move her to LA. You have her text message. I mean, that's how Grey's Anatomy handed Christina leaving, Sandra Oh leaving. Yeah, that's how you do it. If they're gonna kill Big off, I hope that they do it in like 2015 and in 2021 when the series is on. It's several years later and Carrie has done mourning and she's ready to find love again in her 50s. And I think that would be a really, really cool thing for women of that age to see, and that, you can still be sexy. You can still find love. You're still, a valued member of society. I think do
you think it's going to be like a cougar in the city? Like,
I like that.
I mean, I'm over the term cougar. I think women, in their 50s, let's take their sexuality back. I mean,
why do you
did
keep
it.
but you're over it, but you keep like roaring at the screen?
I talk with my hands. You know me. I talk with my hands.
He's a gay man.
I'm a gay man. Designing women. That's the night the lights went out in Georgia. But I just think it'd be really interesting to see someone maybe you look at a Miranda, who was the very strong businesswoman, career woman, how her life has panned out being career. Charlotte, who always wanted to be the typical stay-at-home wife, how her life has panned out. And then Carrie, maybe, finding love again at 50. I think they can do it. I think they can do it without Samantha. I
don't want to watch a series of poor Carrie. She's just lost the love of her life. She's so sad again.
And that's why I think that's why he's got to be dead in 2015.
He found Aiden's chair at a storage unit sale.
And I also
furniture looks great.
I want a new love interest. I want a new love story for her. I don't want to bring back anyone old. I don't want.
Guys, it's going to be Army Hammer.
They're bringing back Alexander Petrovsky. He's now in a wheelchair.
He's for sure dead. If Berger shows up with a Post-it note saying date, I'm going to be like, no, kids today don't even know what Post-its are.
It's going to be Army Hammer, and he's going to be trying to eat Carrie through the whole movie.
It's going to be
I had to wonder
for some dim sum.
I had to wonder, was my flesh that good?
Well, and I also want to ask you boys. So one of the things that Kim Cattrall has said is she would want the character of Samantha recast, which I think is a terrible idea. But Kim Cattrall has given her blessing to it. She's like, recast Samantha as a Black woman or as a a woman of color. And I think I'm not a
fan of the recasting. I don't do the recasting.
So my thoughts. I would love to see Samantha as a woman of color, especially powerful in her 50s, owning her body, and being very successful. However, if they're going to recast it, just do a complete reboot with all new actors. Because I want that different vibe. I don't want to have to pretend oh, hi, Samantha. No, that's not Samantha. Let's start all over.
I think it'd be real
hard. Can you
imagine
we are when this comes out, there will be parties, theme parties every Sunday or whatever day it's on. And are they only going to be 30-minute episodes?
Who knows? It's HBO Max. I don't know if they're going to do them one at a time, just like the other bullshit that I'm seeing. They're going to drop them all at once.
I'm curious if they're going to bring all the guys back, if they're all going to still be married. I'm very curious to see how they're going to do this.
Are the kids going to be in it? They're going to be grown-ups now?
Brady and Lily may be getting married. We don't know. Are Stanford and Anthony still together? We don't know.
Yeah,
no,
there's a lot of different roles the ways they could go with it. And I think the number one thing that I think that they should do is the number one complaint is that the show has not aged well. And I've not gone back and watched it, and I think I might do this year, and Spencer's never seen any of it, so it might be something we can watch together. But it's not aged well. They're comparing it to a Friends. There's no way that there's all these people in New York City and they're all just white and they're all, it's just so I hope that they take that criticism and they do something really well with it, really important with it. Why can't Carrie? Maybe she meets a really good looking Black man. Maybe she meets a really good Hispanic.
Bring a little
man.
Will Smith on. Yes, sir.
Yes. Oh my God.
Idris Elba. Oh,
Yes.
Or, the Duke. Whoever, whatever.
yes. He's a little young for Carrie, but she could be a cougar, I
Girl,
guess.
get yours. I don't care. Don't listen to her.
Yeah. So I hope they take that well. I think it'll also be super interesting to see what they do with Carrie's job because so much is digital now.
She owns the New York Star.
Like maybe she's trying to find her way in a virtual world. Like I just don't even know, but like it's so funny to think about she was writing a newspaper column and she would run and get a newspaper in 1997 and
she was writing books. Nobody buys books anymore.
She does a podcast now.
Yes.
Oh my God, yes. I love it.
We could be on the show.
Yes, this is cross-transitional marketing or whatever. But I think they've got to make it. I think they could make this really successful if they do two things. If they make it relevant and if they make it so that the youth finds a way, like because all the old seasons are on HBO Max and Amazon. I think.
Oh, are they? I still have the DVD set. So
that big like pink box.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but also, it's a huge draw for HBO Max to get all these new people to come subscribe to their show. But to me, it would be such a disservice if they literally made Carrie still a newspaper writer and she's on a streaming platform. Like it just seems so inefficient. So I don't know, but yeah.
So going back to Will and Grace with their reboot, like they were able to really like take their jokes further because things were a lot more acceptable. Sex and the City already like pushed the boundaries.
Oh.
Do you think they have like another level that they can go to, or do you think they?
Oh, I think there's going to be way more. Yeah, I think it's going to be way pushing the envelope this time.
Well, about all those like dating apps and stuff, they have to talk about those. If Samantha was on, she'd be like, "Oh, it's my female grinder," or something. Like she would throw something in there.
And I want to see them like get in an Uber instead of taxi in the bus.
Yeah, but the other thing is, I don't necessarily know if I want to watch every single episode of watching 50-year-old women struggle with technology because I helped my mom with it and it's not fun and it's not sexy and it's not. So like they have to, it's so hard. We're giving them an impossible task.
Do you think they'll make a Trump joke?
They have to be youthful and relevant and they also have to be age appropriate. So it's this weird, but there are old women
We already have an episode of Carrie like trying to back up her Mac and having the sad Mac and she's like, what do you mean it's gone? We already had that. We don't need to see her struggling anymore.
True. Maybe they're in New York. Maybe they're super woke, but yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. Like did Charlotte vote for Trump or did she do a third party candidate? And all the girls are pissed at her from 2016 because they think she contributed to Hillary. Like that would be funny and relevant. And I think a really good topic because Charlotte, the taxes, something crazy, but and then struggling to not only okay, you're my friend and I know you're not a racist. You have an Asian baby, but at the same time, I'm pissed at you. And how can you vote for someone
I still never understood why Miranda broke up with Blair Underwood to this day.
Right? Oh my!
Little old Steve, come on now.
Yeah, Blair Underwood is a snack.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it'll be interesting. I mean, we're all game, so that's why I think it'll be super, super fun to try and go back and watch again, especially with someone who's never watched it. He'll probably just continue like, oh my God, what were they wearing in the 90s? I'm going to be like, right there, buddy. But it'll be interesting for sure. We're all good.
Well, they interviewed Candace Bushnell about her favorite Carrie outfits and what were their favorite things. And she was like, oh, fashion was just such a big part of the show. And that's, the fashion in New York City were the other two characters on the show. And she's so right. Their fashions were also different. And it was different women's styles. But, I loved Carrie's newspaper dress. She mentioned the tutu that she wore in the I think it was
credits.
Yeah. And then just all of the other different iconic fashion that they had, when they were getting to the movies and the dresses she was wearing in Abu Dhabi and just so
the fashion. Yeah. The styling in it was amazing.
Absolutely. Well, they've always the joke is like that the fifth character in Sex and the City is the city. And this is the other thing. How can they film the show in New York City right now in the heat of COVID? Because it won't look like New York City. Like it just won't. Like, and that's the livelihood. You need the hustle, the bustle.
Girl, it's Hollywood. We got 2020. We were able to run companies on Zoom meetings. I'm sure they can figure something out. Like them in a green screen walking down the street in New York City.
So what we should start doing for the podcast is we should have weekly watch parties and watch the episode together and commentate on everything happening.
Producer Chad, we're going to need you to work. Producer Chad, make that happen. Tell us what we need to download to make that happen.
I noticed Disney Plus now has a thing where you can set group watches, so you can invite people into your group watch. So maybe we can figure that out with HBO Max.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm hoping by then we can just watch together.
Yeah, it's not going to premiere until probably later this year and even next year.
They're it's going to premiere in January 2024. Hope I'm still here.
Yeah. Sarah Jessica Parker really filmed herself typing that. That was they're okay, and that's enough until we can
get her son James and Matthew Broderick were helping her.
No. How slow it went though. It did remind me of our good friend Joe Bushel and his 2-finger typing, A-N-D, count to 5.
Love you, Joe. But yes, thank you for that, Eric. Well, I'll be very, very curious to see how this develops. When we post on socials, you'll have to let us know your thoughts on Sex and the City. Hate it, love it, what you'd like to see, what you'd hate to see, and we'll take your comments into consideration. Well, boys, this was a really, really fun episode. There's lots of TV. That's all we
Welcome to 2021.
You guys, just fingers crossed. No big snowstorms yet. We're already halfway through January. Not too much further.
We got our snow for Christmas. So I feel
president tomorrow.
Yep, new president tomorrow.
By the time this episode is out for social consumption, it'll be President Biden and Vice President Harris. And we just really, really hope and pray for a smooth, easy, peaceful transition of power, that no one gets hurt on either side. I don't want to see anyone hurt anyone. But we've got to move forward.
We're ready to heal and love.
Yes.
And it's going to be a good concert. We got Super Bowl coming up. Just winter things to help us get through the spring. Wear your mask.
Wear your mask. Wash your hands. Be safe. Be smart. We love you all so much. If you want to be so kind and rate, review, subscribe on our platforms, that would be amazing. Best compliment you can do is share with a friend. We love, love, love you all. And until next time, cheers.
Cheers. Happy birthday, Chad.
Happy birthday, Chad. We love you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.